Story time. Once upon a time in a remote African village located deep within the untamed wilderness, there lived a young woman named Kazi. Kazi was known throughout the village for her remarkable skill as a weaver, and her heart was as kind as her hands were skilled. She made colorful fabrics and could make beautiful dresses as well. In this village, the weavers played a vital role, creating beautiful fabrics that were traded in the bustling market nearby. But weaving wasn't just a craft, it was a tradition that had been passed down through generations. Kazi learned the art of weaving from her grandmother, Nia, who was celebrated as the finest weaver the village had ever known. One day, a terrible drought struck the land, and crops withered away. There was no water, food became scarce, and the villagers were very hungry and sad. In this time of hardship, the villagers gathered to discuss their options. They needed to find a way to survive the drought. There were rumors of a waterfall in a faraway land that had magical properties. It was believed that the water fetched directly from the waterfall before it touched the ground possessed immense magical properties. So the elders thought that perhaps someone could get some water from the waterfall and bring it to the village. Things will get better, plants will grow again, and the streams and lakes that had dried up will be filled with water once more. The only problem was that, in order to get to the waterfall, one needed to enter the boat of a cloaked man. Some believed the cloaked man is a spirit that watched over the waterfall to avoid people misusing its powers. The cloaked man always asked a riddle. If you got it right, he will take you to the waterfall in his boat to fetch water. But if you got his riddle wrong, he would take you deep into the water and you would never be seen again. The village decided to send all the strong able-bodied men and warriors to go in search of the waterfall to get the magical water which they desperately needed. They journeyed for days, finally got to the cloaked man's boat, and begged him to take them across. He told them that only one of them could cross at a time, so they had to come one after the other to try to answer his riddle. One of the men shouted from the back, "We only need one person to cross successfully, and our village will be whole again." So the brave men stepped up, one after the other, to attempt the cloaked man's riddle. None of them could cross as they kept failing the riddle and disappearing under the water. It was then that one of the men decided to run back to the village and inform them what has transpired. He said to himself, "Perhaps if we can get someone courageous and wise enough to get this riddle correctly, our village will be saved." And he ran as fast as he could, even though he was hungry and tired. He ran until he arrived at the village. When he got to the village, he went straight to the chief and collapsed at the chief's palace. The villagers that saw him return began to murmur among themselves. They thought he had returned with good news. Now that it was clear that all the able-bodied men that left the village some days ago were never coming back, because none of them could answer the cloaked man's riddle, the villagers thought to themselves that perhaps it would be wise to send a few courageous and wise women on the quest this time. But all the women were afraid. So Kazi stepped up. She had learned a lot from her grandmother, who taught her many riddles and how to weave clothes. Perhaps this was the time to put it all to a test. So, Kazi knew that she had to use her skills to help her people. With a heart full of courage, Kazi decided to embark on a dangerous journey to find the legendary waterfall, so she could answer the riddle correctly and bring back the magic water. She gathered her weaving tools, said goodbye to her worried family, and set off alone into the wild unknown. The journey was tiresome, yet Kazi pressed on, fueled by her determination to save her village, finding strength in the legacy of her grandmother's teachings. After days of relentless travel, Kazi finally reached the legendary waterfall. The cloaked man was there with his boat and he gave Kazi a riddle to solve. "Answer this riddle correctly and I will take you in my boat to the waterfall," he said. "In the African night, I come alive unseen, my eyes gleam in the dark with a mysterious sheen. I'm a symbol of wisdom, revered from olden days, yet my presence is hidden in the moon's soft haze. What am I?" Kazi thought to herself for a moment. What is associated with wisdom is seen a lot at night. With uncertainty on her face, she blurted, "The answer to your riddle is, owl." "Correct," said the cloaked man, and then he took Kazi in his boat across the stream underneath the waterfall. As she stood under it, she realized that the stories were true. The waterfall shimmered with an otherworldly light, and its waters sparkled with hope. Kazi filled a small gourd with the sacred water and began her journey back to the village. When she arrived back at the village, the people were amazed by her bravery and the miraculous water she had brought. They used it to nourish their crops, and life slowly returned to the once barren land. Kazi's courageous journey and determination became a legend in the village. She had not only saved her people from the drought but had also shown resilience. Kazi's story continued to be told for generations, reminding everyone that courage, passed down like the art of weaving, could overturn even the harshest of challenges. Follow us for more African traditional stories.